Hello and welcome once again to the Paranormal NightStalker. I am Joel Walling. With me as always is Michael Smith, and you might have noticed last week we didn't have this part of the show on. Well, that was simply because we forgot to put the show out until Saturday. Both of us completely forgot. Out of running a podcast network, one of the most important shows for us to put out is our own. And both of us completely forgot that that happened and that existed. So we are back this week to tell you that, well, here we are. We do have a big guest tonight. It's going to be Brian Holloway. He's a app creator, and some of his more popular stuff is the Witch and the Wiccan app. He does ITC, and it's going to be a great talk about that. We actually did get into a lot about it, and we're not going to take up too long getting into everything else we have to get in. But there were a couple of things we were talking about this morning that I did kind of want to touch on just to do our normal thing here. One of them being this, well, actually, it kind of ties into everything, but it's the main one that we've been seeing a lot of here in the past couple of days, and I'm sure a lot of you all have seen this, is that MoMo challenge. And it's a creepy voice changer / computer generated image that at some point tells kids to kill themselves. Well, this started making its rounds actually the first time about 3 or 4 years ago. We actually did a video on this when we were doing videos for YouTube. And basically, this is people targeting children. Sometimes this is children they know. I think now it's gotten into more children that they don't know. It's just random strangers targeting kids, trying to get them to hurt themselves. And we're not talking like, teenagers. We're not talking 16, 17-year-olds that might know the difference. We're talking like, in some cases, these kids have been preteen, and it's just unfucking believable. I mean, I can't put it a different way. It's just unfucking believable that is, that they're targeting these, children this young. And what it basically is I'm seeing with this is that every few years, the same things start to make the same rounds. The MoMo challenge was out then. Of course, the one that was reported, and I don't have anything concrete saying that, yes, this happened is exactly as you heard, but the one I was hearing about had like a kid being sent pictures of their younger siblings and things like this. So obviously that has got to be somebody that actually knows the family, knows the person sending this to them, and was able to like give them the names of their parents, names of their siblings, names of their friends, and all of this. So, this is like I said, this is a targeted attack on this child, which, I mean, even if they are in their teens, they're still children, but it is a targeted attack to them. This, again, seems to be more random, but the thing of it is, like I said, it seems like every few years you give something long enough time to be forgotten, and then it comes back again. Because I know another thing that is starting to make the rounds again is the Florida Skunk Ape. Well, there's this one picture, and it's actually an incredible picture. It was actually sent to primate experts. They looked at it, and they said, that's an adult orangutan. So they recognize the species immediately. It's dirty, it's wet, its fur is matted, but that's orangutan. And now, again, that same picture is being shown over and over, and it's going, look, somebody caught a picture of a skunk ape. Well, that picture's actually, I think it's older than 3 or 4. I think it's actually somewhere in the neighborhood of almost 10 years old.
Yeah, it's been on every cryptozoological show about Bigfoot or anything. I've seen it on Monster Quest, which was years ago. I mean, it's been used on about every show you can think of.
Yeah, and it's just, again, like I said, it goes away long enough to be forgotten, and then it comes back full force. And it comes back as a I guess you'd say a new species, or not a new species, but a new evidence of the existence of this thing. Well, when this was, like I said, it was originally, and I can't remember, well, I'll be totally honest, I haven't tried to find it, but I do know that at one time I watched a special about this. I don't know if it was in Monster Quest or what it was, but I remember it was a special. And they took it, like I said, to primate experts. The primate experts, they took a look, they was like, we have a picture of an unknown primate that is believed to be this Florida skunk ape. And you go, okay. And they look down at it, and he goes, that's an orangutan. He's like, you can clearly see this, you can see that. And he's pointing out all the clear signs that this is orangutan. Like, well, we thought it was orange. Orangutans are orange. Well, yeah, but you're looking at a dirty, you can tell it's raining, the thing's fur is soaked, it's dirty, it's matted. So, and this was at night, so it's possible that you couldn't see the fur color. But yeah, that's an orangutan. So they took some experts out to the Florida Everglades and stuff, and they found habitats with what they believed to be like fur and stuff like that from orangutans. And they're like, yes, this is a common orangutan habitat. So it was kind of dismissed, not necessarily dismissed, but it was just kind of like saying, hey, you want to know what the Florida skunk ape is? Well, in a place you shouldn't have a large primate like this, you've got a population of large primates. And this could be, you got to think, if there's only, let's say 5 or 6 of them, or give it a round number, 10. Give it 10 animals living in an area of, say, 3 or 4 miles. They're pretty damn hard to find. You're not looking at something that doesn't have the ability of disappearing. It can hide. So, yeah, you have to automatically assume that there's not a huge number, since, if I'm not mistaken, aren't orangutans, aren't they endangered anyway?
Well, I don't know about endangered, but they're not native to the U.S. I know that.
Well, yeah, I know they're not native to the U.S., but if I'm not mistaken, I think they are endangered. I think they are listed as an endangered, or at least a threatened species. I'm not totally positive, but like I said, if you're looking at it through that, then you have to kind of have to say, if there is a limited number of these things. Actually, it's according to the orangutans.com.au, so it's .com.australia, they are actually listed as a endangered species. But it may be the Borneo orangutans that are endangered, and not just... Yeah, they are a protected endangered species listed on the World Wildlife Fund. So yes, they are actually an endangered species. So if you put something like this, maybe, like I said, maybe 10 in an area of 3 or 4 miles, these things can hide. They're going to disappear. They're not going to let you just like walk right up to them and catch them. So yeah, it's very possible that this is just a primate, because Florida is a dumping ground for a lot of exotic animals, and the fact of it is, the Florida climate, these things would thrive in it. It's just like the snakes and everything that get dumped in Florida. And I do know that back in the history, there used to be circus train wrecks, and the animals would escape. I know there's a place in outside of Wilmington, North Carolina, called Monkey Junction, and the reason it was called Monkey Junction is because there were monkeys in Monkey Junction. They have since been captured and taken to other places, but there were wild monkeys in Wilmington, and needless to say, I don't think there are any indigenous wild monkeys in the U.S.
I don't think so either. I don't think there's an indigenous primate anywhere in the U.S. I don't think the climate will go for it.
I don't think so.
Unless you count Bigfoot, but even that's not proven, so we won't go there. But
you can't. Yeah, you can't. It's believed to be, And we don't know exactly what exactly it is. We call it a primate or a great ape, and we don't know exactly. So, there's a lot of other things that could be factored into that. But the fact of it is,
Speaking of great ape, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's good. Go for it.
I was going to say, speaking of Bigfoot, if anybody out there is a Bigfoot fan that likes Bigfoot stuff, one of our podcasts, Bigfoot and Company, this past episode was killer. So if you want to listen to something really good, it was quite good. I listened to it last night. So have at it, but you'll like it.
Yeah, and this is coming from Michael. This is someone who does not listen to podcasts normally.
No, I don't even listen to our own.
Yeah.
Once I recorded, I hate to say that because I'm a podcast producer, but I've got so many podcasts that I record that some nights the last thing I want to listen to is another podcast.
Well, I hear myself talk so damn much. Sometimes I get tired of my own damn voice. Like, Jesus, do I have to hear that guy anymore? Oh, wait, that's me.
Well, that's all right. I get tired of you too, but I'll still talk to you.
Yeah. We kind of are a glutton for punishment in that way.
Yeah, we always have been.
But yeah, it's like I said, so, this of the known primate species, and actually, Dr. John would be a great guy to talk to about this, because he is one of the hosts of Bigfoot and Company, along with he actually has like 3 different podcasts that we do. So I don't want to name his co-host and name the wrong guy, but anyway, he does do that. He also does the Georgia Bigfoot Conference, which, if I'm hearing right from him, last time I talked to him, if you're in Georgia and you're thinking about going to the Georgia Bigfoot Conference, you best do that now, because if you wait, you ain't getting there. Tickets are limited, and they already are about sold out. I would assume the same could be said about the Tennessee Bigfoot Conference, and there may be an announcement for those folks in Kentucky coming soon. But we're going to hold off on that for a little bit until I get more concrete information regarding some of the stuff that's going on there. But something big may be happening in Kentucky if you're there. So definitely keep your ear open here or on Bigfoot and Company, and we'll get it all set up, and we'll let you know as soon as we have any concrete information. But like I said, there's just these things continue to make their rounds. And whether it be the Skunk Ape or the MoMo challenge or, I saw another one not too long ago. It's like I said, it seems like every, I guess you would say the memory of the people involved is somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 5 years. Because every 3 to 5 years, we see the same stuff we saw in the last 3 to 5 years coming back again as new. That's the thing. It's not, hey, this still hasn't been explained. We're wondering about this. Or, hey, I just found this. What do you guys know about it? It's always, look what just came out. And the fact of it is, it's like, no, this did not just come out. This has been going for, in some cases a decade. It's just gone.
And in the case of some of the paranormal stuff that we debunked years ago.
Yeah, and it's still popping up. It's still, unless it's so obviously faked and debunked, it comes back. And then we've got a new trend that's going around of copy paste, as not to be confused with creepypastas, the stories like MoMo challenge and that crap. Slender Man and all of that. I'm talking actual copying and pasting. I'm talking like moving stuff, because as I've said before, I'm part of a lot of groups on Facebook, and I saw yesterday, in a span of about probably 4 hours, the same picture 3 or 4 times. One person claimed they took it, and I think it was 3 other people claimed that a friend of theirs sent it to them. And somebody finally commented on the last one, like, listen, they're like, I'm not trying to, to knock you down or anything or say anything, but This is the second or third time I've seen this picture where all of your all's friends standing around taking pictures of this damn thing. How many of you were there? Because it was supposed to be a picture of Bigfoot standing on the side of a road. Well, after you see 2 or 3 different people that have no knowledge of each other except for in this group saying, oh, our friend was standing there and took a picture of this last night. They're like, wow, you all got friends and they all were on the same road at the exact same time and took a picture of the exact same creature. How many of you were there? You know, he was kind of nicely saying, this is bullshit, you know. But he wasn't coming out right out and saying it. It was kind of putting like, listen, you know, you're going to sit here and you're going to tell us that all of this shit is happening and all of these people who got pictures of it. You got to start at some point. You got to go, yeah, no, because I mean, right now, if everybody's friends in it, and I've seen it 4 times in one group, that already puts it at 4 witnesses. Now, if you've got 4 witnesses to anything, they're going to call the police, they're going to call the news, they're going to call people and be like, hey, I just saw this. Well, there were any other witnesses? Yeah, there's like 5 of us standing on the road taking pictures right now. You know, it's like, so, you know, stuff like that kind of happens, and it's weird, you know, it's just all it is to it. It's just weird. So that's when they, you know, never, and they keep recycling it is what it is. It's a recycled story, a recycled picture, recycled this or recycled that. You know, MoMo is a creepypasta because to date, I don't think there has actually ever been a confirmed case of anyone doing anything because of this challenge. I have not seen anything that says, you know, the police investigated, the person got a call that said it was from this and it led to this. You know, it's a lot like the whole razor blades and apples. You know, I don't know if to the folks out there listening, if you don't have Halloween where you are, I know Halloween is not a worldwide thing. It might be called something else. It might be done a different way. But anyway, here in the U.S., or, well, in North America, when you do Halloween, the kids dress up in costumes and they go trick-or-treating. Well, it used to be common for kids to be given fruit. They were given apples or oranges because, you know, you're trying to give them something a little healthier than, you know, now they give out toothbrushes. That's the same equivalent. But they would give out, there was a urban legend of a child biting into a razor blades, you know, that was shoved into a apple. Again, this is something that has a clearly traceable origin, like Slender Man. That actually came from the movie Halloween. The boy walking into the hospital where, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis's character was. I can't remember her name. Judith Myers, I believe is her name. And he's got a razor blade in between the front 2 teeth. And his mother says something about should have checked that apple. Well, that's where that came from. There have been cases known of Halloween candy being poisoned, but they were never given to random children. It was a relative that poisoned a specific child or children. It was a relative. Yeah, it's messed up. If I'm not mistaken, the one I know of for a fact was in Chicago, and I believe the person killed his 5 nieces and nephews.
But I've never actually heard of anybody being cut or hurt by an apple with a razor blade in it.
No, this guy actually injected cyanide and arsenic into candy bars.
Yeah, well,
because that was the big one. They were always check your kids' candy. They check your kids' candy. Somebody could poison them. Someone could poison them. Well, the only confirmed case of children being the only one that I know of, or maybe more, and if there is, you can tell us about it. but the only confirmed case I know of a child being poisoned with candy on Halloween was, I believe, in Chicago. And it was a person killing his nieces and nephews.
Damn. Twisted.
Yeah, and he used if I'm not mistaken, he used a diabetic insulin needle to inject arsenic and, I think it seemed like there was another one. Arsenic, but it may have just been rat poison.
Strychnine, probably.
Yeah, there was something like that and killed his nieces and nephews. That's just what he did. That's twisted, but it's not, it's not just randomly poisoning candy bars and stuff like that. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew who he was giving those to. And that's what it is. And it's, like I said, it's short memories. We live in an age that things can be forgotten easily because all they have to do is be repackaged and retitled and redistributed. And then it's over with because the original story gets lost. It gets spread. MoMo started on WhatsApp. A stupid little chat program made for kids. That was it. That was where it got started. And like I said, if the original one I've heard, if this is truly the original, and it is truly, if it's all true, if it truly happened the way they say it happened, then it is obvious, it is clear that it is a person attacking this one child, most likely a family member or a friend of the family, someone that knows them, because you're not going to be able to get pictures of their siblings. You're not going to be able to get the names of their family, all of that kind of stuff. And I should re-say that the picture that was supposedly sent to the child was a picture of his, I believe, young sibling, possibly infant sibling, sleeping in a crib. So it was not something like, just something off of Facebook or something like that anyone could find. And that's what caused it. But of course, if the story is also true, he then went to his mother and said, there's something weird going on. Here's what's happening here, and shows them this. And they go and they took it to the police, and the police took over. That's another one that makes me think it's not true at all, because they say the police have investigated. Well, this was like 3 or 4 years ago. If the police were investigating, they would have arrested someone. That's the easiest way to find validity in a story. If they say, oh, well, the police are investigating, who did they arrest? Now, if this supposedly happened last night, okay, the police are investigating. That's understandable. 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, no. They would have, because first off, as soon as it hits the internet, it comes into FBI territory. And believe me, the FBI knows who sent every damn thing that goes on the internet. And if they do not know, they can find out very easily and very quickly. I have done informant work for the FBI. I know how quickly they can find shit. So don't think that, oh, I can send something online and the FBI will never know. And it doesn't matter if you're going through VPN or not. VPNs are a great way of making you feel safe and hidden when you're walking around with your dong hanging out. They're the emperor's new clothes. Because if you don't think the government can find out what computer what came from, even if you're using a VPN, you're a fool.
They got people working for them that can do more with a computer than a monkey on 40 foot of grapevine.
Yeah. I think that's hilarious. So many people talk about, oh, well, they should do this with a VPN. You should do that with a VPN. You should do this with a VPN. And I only use this because it's, no, if you don't think they can find out, you are ridiculous. It's like, come on, folks. They know what's going on the internet. They're monitoring. Hell, they're monitoring us right now. They're monitoring what I'm saying. If you
there's some
online,
there's some poor bastard sitting in the basement of the NSA that's been relegated to listen to us.
and again, I want to go out to that NSA agent and I want to either say, I'm sorry, because I mean, listening to us has got to be like, oh, Jesus Christ. Or, you're welcome. Because let's face it, this guy has got one of the easiest jobs in the world. They ain't going to find no terrorist group. We ain't plotting anything. It's just the ramblings of two, completely insane people.
Two complete idiots.
Yeah, two complete idiots with a podcast. So, depending on how he looks at it, he's either got the easiest job in the world or the worst job in the world. So either you're welcome or sorry. Either one. Just like I said, depending on how he looks at it. Either you're welcome or I'm sorry. But it goes out to simple as this, and I'm going to put this out to everybody, and I hope you guys listen, and I hope you tell your kids this, because this is something that really does need to be addressed. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be brought to the forefront of all this. The internet is, simply to put, 95% bullshit. Don't believe anything you read on the internet. Don't believe anything you hear on the internet. Don't believe anything you find on the internet. And don't believe anything that comes from the internet. If the internet is involved, 95% chance it is complete and utter bullshit. If you can't look it up yourself and verify it through other sources, then do not believe it. If you get online and something tries to call you and it says that it's going to curse you or it's going to do this or it's going to do that unless you hurt yourself, simply tell it, go fuck yourself. There's no other way to put it. So you need to reach out to your kids or any of the kids listening. I've been doing the internet thing before the internet thing was cool. Back before, when people were looking at ads on TV going, what in the hell is this www dot thing?
That was me, by the way, doing that.
Yeah. Before you met me, you were blissfully unaware of most of this crap. And now I have converted and corrupted you. You have now been converted and corrupted.
I don't know about that, because every day I say, all right, how do I do this? If y'all knew how many times I had to do screen shares on Skype to download programs because I don't know which button to push, you'd laugh at it, but I'm not kidding. Whenever I got to download a program, we do a screen share so you can tell me which button to push because I have no idea which one to hit.
Yeah, it's, so it's like I said, it's just this simple. Anything that comes from this, you take it all with a grain of salt. I'm going to go right out right now. And I will share a little bit of a story before we go because I don't want to take too long. I don't remember how long the interview with Brian was.
It was long, an hour and a half, I think.
Here is the actual lowdown on the MoMo challenge. Like I said, this started up about 3-4 years ago. And at the time, Michael and I were actually doing a YouTube channel called What the Fuck Is That? So, I'm sitting there one night in the middle of the night and I'm reading all this stuff about the MoMo challenge and all of this and I'm like, huh. So this is supposedly a demon or spirit, vengeful and evil, and it'll tell you to do stuff and it'll send you this and it'll curse you if you don't. I said, okay. I tried to call MoMo. MoMo wouldn't return my calls. MoMo wouldn't text me. MoMo wouldn't answer. It's been 3-4 years now. MoMo still don't talk to me. So whoever set that up strictly to screw around with people. When they realized, oh crap, this is an adult. This is a grown man. And he's calling bullshit on me. They ignored me. They pretended I didn't exist. And they did it until I went away. Because, frankly, I did go away. It got boring. I tried for a couple of nights. I got nothing. So that tells you right there how much truth there is behind MoMo and its ability to do anything to you. Because if it had the ability to do anything to you, I challenged it. And nothing happened. For days, I challenged it. Nothing happened. That was a person sitting behind a keyboard, hoping to get someone naive enough to believe that they actually had some kind of power to fill up some kind of trip because their tiny little tic-tac testicles haven't descended yet. And that's all MoMo is. So if you get the MoMo challenge should be laughed at and ridiculed and made fun of. Because it's just a pathetic person sitting and hiding behind a keyboard. If your kids get it, that's exactly what you need to tell them. Tell them it's not real. It's just a pathetic loser hiding behind a keyboard. And hopefully, they will find the people doing this, and then they'll be Bubba's baby from now on. But anything else you want to add into this?
No, I think I'm good for the week. Next week coming up, I don't know what the hell we got coming up next week. We ain't got that far yet.
Actually, we may be talking to another YouTuber, a guy that does ghost stories on YouTube. New channel. Yeah. It sounds pretty promising. His name's Mike, and we're supposed to be recording that on the 3rd. If everything goes right, we will. If not, then I don't know. Of course, all our podcasts are still going strong. The network is going great. Scary Cast and Bigfoot and Company are off and running. I want to give a big shout out and tell a great job to Giving Up the Ghost. They did a magnificent job this past weekend, and it's already out. If you haven't heard it yet, go download it now. It's a IKEA pajama party. They actually did this simulcast throughout Canada at IKEA at a special pajama party customer appreciation night. And it was huge. It was absolutely amazing. And again, if you have not heard that yet, then go to wherever you download podcasts, Steel Podcast, Bring Podcast. If it's coming through an anal probe or tooth filling or coconut shell radio, however you hear these things, go to it now and tune up Giving Up the Ghost and listen, because it was a great episode. They've got already a few out, and I can't wait for the next one. I should be getting that any day now. Of course, we also have new everyone else. Actually, Ryan has been taking a little bit of a break, and I have too. I've got some personal stuff going on. It's just made recording right now really crappy and difficult to do.
I've been driving the Starship while you've been doing your thing.
Yeah, and so we've still got... So Ryan is taking a little bit of a break. We're going to try to get that back in the next week or two. I think actually tomorrow night is going to be the first new episode from Aaron for a while with Paranormal Crossings into the Unknown. Paranormal Horizons. If you haven't listened to that, go over there and do that. That's got Andrea Perrone. Her family, of course, is the family that was in The Conjuring. She gives a little bit of the true story and talks about the book she's written about it. She is absolutely amazing. Still want to get her on here, but we got to get a whole bunch of other crap worked out first. And other than that, David Weatherly has been on Portals of Enlightenment with psychic medium Sherry. She was talking about black-eyed children this week. Of course, June, actually, Dark Side of the Paranormal is live now every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. So if you are a fan of hers or you like just some creepy stuff, you can always tune in live there. So until next week, or until after this break, when you hear my voice again, we're going to take a quick break and come in with our interview with Brian Holloway, the creator of the Portal. I believe one of them was the Portal app, the Wiccan, and the Witch ITC phone apps to talk ITC and their abilities on cell phones. Stay tuned after this. And until next week, we will talk to you soon. Have a great week. All right. Today we are joined by Brian Holloway. He is an app developer. And welcome to the NightStalker.
Thank you for inviting me on.
Well, actually, it is a big thank you for coming on, because I don't know if I'm pretty sure I've told you this, but Michael and I actually, if you go to any app store, ISO, Google Play, any of them, you are just absolutely inundated with different paranormal apps. There's tons of them out there. And we've literally been trying for like probably 3 years to get any app developer on.
Yeah.
And none of them will do it.
Yeah, a lot of the app developers are a bit shy of coming on talking about what they do. And obviously, like you said, there are so many apps out there, and some of them won't come on because some of the apps are not quite what they say they are, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So they'd be very reluctant to come on and talk about them.
Well, that's actually what kind of drew my attention to you in the first place, is because not only did you, well, actually, when I asked you to be, started talking to you about being a guest, you actually have a community on Facebook strictly around your apps, where people can ask you questions and, hey, what does this do? And hey, what does that do? And how do I use this? What's the proper method for that? What's this supposed to be?
We have a massive,
it always makes you think a little differently, because, like you said, you haven't got nothing to hide. You're right there.
No,
there's your name.
From the very first day, very first day, I've never used a pseudonym for any of the apps. Everything I do on, Facebook, YouTube, on the Play Store, it's under my name. I don't hide behind a different name. And we initially started what's called the Geminus Project, and that's the group that we have, among a couple of others. That's just one massive family that we said, if anybody wants to come in and share the evidence they've gathered with these apps and their experiences, and if you've got any technical problems or you just want to ask any questions, anybody's free to ask. And we don't discriminate, you know what I mean? Everyone's free to come in, and we're very open. And we're sort of proud of that.
Well, absolutely. It's like I said, it really makes you look at the apps differently, because like you were saying, and let's come right in. Most of them are the modern, I guess you would say, like the modern day equivalent to the Parker Brothers Ouija board.
Yeah.
They're meant for kids to be sitting around at sleepovers, playing in the dark and getting a scare.
Yeah, that's the problem. A lot of these apps, many, many years ago, before we were even doing apps, they meant as pranks. They just prank apps. And that's where a lot of these things started. And obviously, as the years have gone on, there's more, as you've seen yourself, there's more and more and more of them. And that's what we wanted to try and get away from. We wanted to get away from these joke prank apps, and ones that have got like stuff in them that is a bit dodgy as well, like planted audio and stuff to make them scary, and turn them into a serious tool. Do them properly, and turn them into a serious piece of kit that any paranormal investigator can use, and most importantly, can afford.
Exactly. Because, we were, I can't remember who it was, we were talking not too long ago about with the spirit boxes and some of those things. If you look, of course, I always have to kind of want to hit the people that do the ghost detectors on like Amazon and eBay, where they buy the $10 EMF detector, stick a sticker of a ghost on it, and charge you $150 for it. But paranormal investigation equipment isn't cheap.
That's the thing. When you look at, like, even now, some of the apps, they charge a lot of money, up to like $20, $30. I've even seen some up to $40. And some of the tech as well, like the speakers that people build now, and they're charging $700. And a lot of teams, a lot of people don't have that kind of money. No. It would be nice if they did, but we all don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, exactly. It is very much that. And that's what I was looking at, like I said, when I'm going through here and I'm looking at these, and I guess the main question I've got first off with all of this is, I know it's using off of the ITC, and what exactly in the cell phones do you guys use to activate this kind of stuff?
Well, in a basic ghost box app, it depends on the app, because we've got some that work kind of like the Obelisk device, and what we use there to detect EMF is we use the electromagnetic compass that can actually detect electromagnetic fields, and we use that as a detection. But in your classic standard app that we do, which is just kind of like a ghost box, a software ghost box. All we use in the actual tablet is the CPU. We're not using any of the devices. We keep it as simple as possible. So there's no outside interference at all. So basically, we're just using the tablet as basically a mini computer.
Okay, so and it's just like for a ghost box, is it just like cycling through different frequency? I mean, that's basically it.
Basically, what you with a standard proper ghost box that is a proper hardware ghost box, it's basically, I call it a broken radio that's designed to scan through the channels at high speed, and it never stops on a channel, it never locks on, it just keeps scanning. And when we started developing these apps, I thought, well, they're great, but they're scanning radio signals forwards. So obviously, even though they're going fast, you still might hit a station that's got a word on it, or you'll get a false hit. So what we did with the apps, we said, right, we're going to make our own banks of audio. Obviously, we don't scan online radio or anything like that. It's inbuilt audio banks, but it's all reversed. Everything's reversed, so nothing is actually forwards in the first place, which is an important part of how the app works. So you say got 10 banks of audio, and the software sweeps between those banks at very high speed in milliseconds and picks a random bank every single time. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but it's basic, that's what it is. And so it's cycling through these reversed audio banks. So the theory is, when a word comes out forwards, which anybody who's tested these things, it does, it can't be there. Because there's nothing forwards in the first place. So that's the basic theory behind how these apps actually work.
Now, how many apps have you developed? I know you've got. I saw one group that was talking about the Wiccan and the Witch.
Yeah, we've got the Wiccan and the Witch. Well, I started. What we did, we've got quite a few, because every time I did an app, someone would send a request and say, "Can you build an app around this type of theme or that type of theme?" So it was kind of the community that kept pushing us into bringing new apps out. But we've got the Wiccan, Witch, they're some of the modern ones, and we've got one actually called the Ghost Box. There are quite a few, but they're all different. They're not the same. They work the same, but we've learned that the tones, the frequencies that you put into the banks in the first place, even though it's reversed, has an impact on what type of communication you get out. So as we've gone on, we've developed, each app's just sort of developed on the last one, and we learn by all the evidence that people get, all the fantastic things that they do, and we put what we learn into the next one all the way. But I think we've got a fair collection at the moment. We've got a one for every occasion, as I used to say.
So now, you were saying that it kind of affects the evidence or the responses that you get.
Yeah.
Because I know, basically when I first started seeing about this, it was talking about how the Witch was for negative, I guess you'd say, or places with a negative history.
It kind of draws in more negative energy, because it's just something I learned when I first started, that we experimented with different, like obviously if you're using male and female tones, human tones, actually in the banks, and then you reverse that, obviously there's no words, it's kind of just gibberish, but the tones, the frequencies of the voice seem to have an effect on the location where they were being used and what sort of energy they attracted. So, say the Witch is all the banks are based on negativity. Everything that's in there is based on something negative. And it just seems to draw, it's almost like it draws like for like, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we learned it was a thing. It actually did work. And that's why we put ambient banks in some of the apps as well. And the ambient banks, obviously not reversed, but the sounds that generate sort of like, and when you play your favorite song on the radio and it gives you tingles, you get that kind of buzz.
Yeah.
That's what the ambient banks are designed to do, but it not only fills the atmosphere with energy and gives you that tingle, but it also, the idea is it does the same for spirit. It draws their attention, gives them a little energy boost, and we found that they do actually work as well. Because spirit are energy, they work on energy, they work on frequencies, and sound is just energy and it's a frequency. So we kind of just put the two together. And it seemed to have worked.
That is actually really amazing.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, fine. Carry on.
I just wonder. I'm thinking as I go and make notes, so I kind of know what to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't want to sound stupid. Do you use any infrasound in your ambient banks?
No. The problem with that is because a lot of people who use these apps tend to just use them on, obviously designed to use on your tablet or your phone. And the reason I didn't use any infrasound, because the speakers on your average tablet and your phone won't work very well with infrasound. They're very, very bad with just bass, like low frequency bass. So to use one that has infrasound, you'd have to have a very high quality speaker plugged into this thing, obviously to get the range of tones you'd need for that. So, and again, not every team has that. They can't afford such things, so they just run them straight off the phone or tablet. So I try and just use frequencies and tones that sort of like would work with that. Even though I do encourage people to plug some sort of speaker into them. Don't, if at all possible, don't just use the speakers on your device. They just.
Now your frequency sweep.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use the standard FM frequencies, or do you have special ones that you use?
No, there's basically the audio that the banks are made of. They hand-picked. They're not FM or AM as such. They custom built, and the software doesn't do anything sort of magical with the frequencies either. Each bank is picked specifically for its sound, the frequencies within that, those sounds, whether it be human tones or whatever audio we use. It's very specifically picked. So it goes you get as wide a range of tones as possible. And then the software just, as it's sweeping, just picks a random sweep rate and a random volume, because every time the app sweeps a bank, it's never at the same volume twice either. It's always changing.
Yes, so the volume and the sweep rate are random.
I keep everything random. In the early apps, we used to let people pick a sweep rate, but then I thought we need to put as much randomness into the apps as possible, so there's no way anything can happen by chance or by just having it at a certain sweep rate. So in the newer apps, the sweep rate it's actually displayed on the screen as well in milliseconds. So anywhere from 10 milliseconds, depending on the app, I go up to like maybe 600 or 700 or 800 milliseconds. So it picks a random sweep rate every time it swaps banks, and a completely random volume as well between 0 and 100. And that just keeps everything as random as possible, as well as it's sweeping. Each bank is picked at random as well. Nothing is actually pre-programmed. It's all completely random.
Okay. All right. Like I said, I'm making notes as I go, so I can know what to ask. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Back to you. All right, Joe, you're next. I'm good for the moment.
Hold on just a second.
Where are you from? I hear a bit of an accent there.
Yes, I'm actually from the northeast in the UK, the northeast of England. That's up near.
I definitely caught UK. I just wasn't quite sure where at.
Yeah, definitely up the northeast, near Newcastle area, up here in the UK.
All right, sorry about that. I had to mute my microphone for a second.
No problem.
All right, so I see what you're doing, the randomness out of it and the oscillating speed, and of course, like you said, there's nothing actual in the forward. Where there should be no random chance of getting a word out of it.
No, well, what we do is, again, something that I do that a lot of other developers don't, because it's time consuming, is the banks themselves. Say I've got 10 banks, and it's all reversed, but then I actually go through the reversed audio and take out any anomalies that may even sound like a word by accident in every single bank, and I do that more multiple times per bank. I've done it up to 10 times to make sure that there is nothing that even remotely sounds like a word by accident. And that sort of thing, I saw it be when you're running these apps and you get a word out, you get and, if, anything, any word forward or a name, it cannot be there. Not even by random chance, it cannot be there. The only way that can be there is that the audio is being manipulated by spirit in exactly how they actually do what they do. So there's a lot of work goes into making sure that we get as little false anomalies as possible. And that's why I prefer using these now to over a standard ghost box.
Well, yeah, there's always been that problem with, we were actually just talking with another, he actually develops and makes his own equipment and sells it.
Yeah.
And he was talking about that. He's like, he goes, I do use a ghost box, or spirit box, but the first thing I did was take it apart and took out everything that would allow it to actually pick up a radio station. It's like, so I actually get no signal whatsoever. Like, because as long as you're leaving it just as like, I guess you'd say, like straight out of the box, you're always leaving yourself open to getting something that wasn't actually there, or at least something that you end up getting a radio station.
Exactly.
And I go back to this poor YouTube guy that did a video and almost had a minor heart attack when he asked if there's anything that wants to speak to him, and he got hello, and it was Adele.
Exactly. So that's the issue, isn't it? That's the problem with. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love ghost boxes. I've got a custom built one myself, but every time I use it, it always has that problem where I think, was that communication from spirit, or did I just pick up Radio 1? It's you just don't know. So that's why we developed the apps in the way we did, to take all of that out the equation, and to try and get us close as well, because the Geminus Project I created with Javier Sanz of Spain Paranormal, and we just wanted to get as close to real time proper communication as we could, using whatever means we could, and the apps were just that mean.
Yeah, that's actually that's really that's the goal, because I mean, so much, and I always think about. Well, I go back to one of the people that trained me in the beginning. Her name was Star, and she used to talk about that. She's like, you gotta. She was talking to me about the different types of spirit energy you might run into. So you got to realize that some of these have been there for a long time. They've been trying to talk to people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they get like annoyed because nobody can hear them. It's like, think about it. Exactly. Now, you think about it, you're sitting there in this room and you're doing this EVP session, and while that to me is still like the high point of any investigation, I love that when you're playing something back, there was maybe one other person in the room, and you get a voice. I'm like one I was in not too long ago, where I'm like, can you make a sound, let us know where you are, and a voice clear as a bell goes, I'm over here.
Yep.
There's just something about that gives you chills and makes it all worth doing for.
Exactly. There is no better than a Class A EVP, like you said, because there's nothing else involved. It's just a recorder.
Exactly.
And that is literally a voice out of thin air. Exactly. Yeah.
But I had to wait to hear that. Where if we could actually get that to where it would work, where we could hear it clear enough and loud enough. And when it says, I'm over here, I could be like, oh, hey, how's it going? Or can you tell me your name? And this is my name's Steve. And you can look at it and go, oh, nice to meet you, Steve.
Well, with the apps, that's kind of almost where we are. I know some of the apps, they can still be a bit noisy, unlike an EVP, you're in a quiet room and you're doing that. But with the apps, the evidence that we've gathered and others have gathered, we've literally had a two-way conversation. I mean, I once, when I was testing one of the apps, I've told this story before, I was testing one, I can't remember which one it was now, but I put it on, I got it all ready, and I switched it on, and obviously there's just gibberish coming out of this thing because it's all reversed, there was nothing really happening, and I said, come on, hello, there's got to be someone here. And a woman's voice as plain as day and said, hello, can you hear me? Just like that, and I was stunned myself. I was like, I didn't know what to say to this woman. I said, yes. Just say, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, what the?
It was crazy. And then I said, I couldn't think of anything to ask. I said, can you tell me what you see? What do spirits see? How do you perceive us? What do you see? And in this really matter-of-fact way, she just went, we see everything. And that's kind of how she said it, and that just blew my mind. So you can see why I've sort of carried on with this, and we do what we do with the apps, because getting that level of communication that was instantaneous, and she replied to me instantaneously.
Yeah. So you were actually having a conversation rather than,
literally, rather than just asking a question, then a minute later you might get an answer or something appear on a digital recorder. It was instantaneous. And it was the same woman's voice as well. It wasn't like a different voice because we sweep them through the banks with different tones. It was the same woman's voice. And that was the crazy part as well. And other people are having, similar experiences with these things. I've had people message me and say, we've got your app and we turned it on. There was 10 of us doing an investigation and it named every single body in the room by name. So...
Yeah.
That again...
That is, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, but that's what it's all about. And again, that's other people having these experiences, because these apps are all over the world now. And to me, that's the magic. Listening to and watching these videos that people are doing, and getting emails where people have said, like, again, I turned it on. It said my name. It said me Andy's name, who just passed. It said me dead dog that died like 10 years ago. It said its name, and just all this relevant information that was coming out of these things that isn't there. It can't be there.
Yeah, that's something. I think it's one of the it's an app, and I'm still. I think part of it is I use an app called the SB7 Spirit Box.
Yeah, I know the exact one. Yeah.
And it was actually one of the groups that I've tried my hardest to get in touch with, because we have gotten things from them, or from that app rather, that is just impossible.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's given members of my team's names. One of them gave his full name, and even two of the members have been friends for since childhood. No clue what his middle name was, yet this thing popped it out.
Exactly. That's exactly, because I've obviously had skeptics say, well, they've just put that information in there, and my sort of reply to that was, as app developers of this ITC software, for us to have put that in there, we would have to know everybody that's going to buy the app on the Play Store from now till forever, and know everything about them and their family and their past family, and have already programmed it in there ahead of advance. I said, that's impossible. It's not physically possible. This stuff that's coming out of these apps, as far as we're concerned, it is spirit manipulation, because it cannot be in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, to put that much information, and that's another thing a lot of people don't think of, and it's something that was one of the first things I started monitoring with the SB7, was to put in, like you were saying, to put in that much information. That would be a huge freaking app. It
would be big. You could install on any tablet that exists. It would be massive.
That's what that was. Like I said, it was the first thing I started watching for with the SB7 was sizes. Wanted to see, and this thing, it's a tiny app. It really is. It's small. Now, if you start downloading one and it's 1.7 gigs or something like that, then you might have room to go, hey, wait a minute here. There's a whole lot of stuff put in there.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. We try to keep it, again, as small as possible, because there's nothing in there except what needs to be in there. There's nothing. And again, people have you put little things mixed in with the audio? And the answer is no. Like I say, we've always been very open. I mean, I know people have to take that on face value because they don't know us, but we sort of pride in ourselves in being open and honest. And I actually go through great steps to take anomalies out rather than putting stuff in. It takes me a long time. So, but again, there's always going to be skeptics. I've had people say, well, if it's an app running on a tablet, it's not credible. And I said this argument that was right. That it's just a tablet. It's just a computer. You lack confidence and as gospel from a broken radio that's designed to be broken. but you won't take evidence that's coming off a tablet or a phone. Why? Most paranormal devices are just hardware running on software, like software running on hardware. Sorry. So what's the difference? And a lot of paranormal equipment was never actually designed, some of it, to be used in the field. We just adopted it.
But
yeah,
none of it was.
Exactly. If people want to be real about it, yeah, but they accept all the evidence from those devices as credible evidence. So why not the apps?
Yeah, it's someone, I can't remember who we were talking to not long ago, and they were like, you know what surprised me? I'm like, what? When I found out that the K2 meter was actually used by electricians.
It's to find why is it's a thing.
Yeah.
But
they were surprised that they'd seen this on Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters so much. The K2 meter, they thought this thing was actually designed and developed for ghost hunting.
Nope. Exactly.
It's an EMF detector.
Exactly, a misconception that a lot of people have. And that's what I sort of just, that's the argument I give to anyone who's skeptical about, because you're running an app, you can't be a credible investigator if you're running an app. Well, you're running a broken radio and a device is meant to find wires in walls.
Yeah.
What's your argument?
We've always been going on over. Michael and I have always gone on people about the doing the old let's go lights out, and what the hell is that supposed to do? Well, I'm turning the lights off in the room, so there shouldn't be any EMF field. Oh yeah, that light switch, that's going to kill all the energy and all the wiring in that whole house. Unless you climb the pole and turn it off at the pole, you got electric in that house.
Exactly. It's just, again, it's knowing how the equipment works, because, we do use the K2 meters, but it's about doing things sensibly, isn't it? Obviously, if you're in a modern building, find out where all the hotspots are with the electrical fields. Go around first just to double check, so you know that if you're getting something, it's not paranormal, fridge over there or thing. It's just using this stuff properly. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't. As soon as they get a spike, look at spike, and the first thing I always say to people when that happens is, have you got your mobile phone in your pocket? And, oh, yeah. And well, there you go.
Exactly. Actually, I did me and my team did a live stream probably about 4 weeks ago now, and I did that. Because it actually, it was convincing enough that it had me looking at it for a minute, because it was even like in timed with my questions. So I'm like, So I had my phone sitting over there because I'd been answering stuff in the chat room and my wife was messaging me. So I picked up my phone and I sat back and then zoop, dead as a doornail.
Yeah.
Didn't move.
That's a golden rule on any investigation we do. I always say to people, because we do use our phones with some of these apps on, turn your phone onto airplane, deactivate any signal coming in or out. And I've actually gone around people and scanned them with a K2 just in case they're telling lies. Because some people say, oh yeah, I've switched it off, and then you find out later. So I always, go around, double check. Turn your devices off or on airplane mode.
A lot of people would think that, it's going to give out a constant. No, the messaging, like I said, it was because it would be blinky-ish green on the first one, and then when a message would come in, it would go up to orange. Yeah, it's your 3G and 4G signal that's doing it. Yeah, it gives off a lot of energy thing, and like I say, we did a lot of experiments with that, and just simple solution, just turn it on to airplane mode, problem solved. Well, that's always what I do with mine, is airplane mode, and make sure there's no Wi-Fi or anything connected. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Well, while I got another person that works in this stuff, I've got another one of the things that seems to be really taken over the paranormal world. It's something that I see far more than I care to admit, but it's the Kinect Cam. Yeah,
I actually built my own. Yeah, I've actually custom built one.
Now
again, I kind of know. I know what you're going to ask. I have a lot of questions about it, and people saying, well, it's very glitchy and it can mistake certain objects and scan them in as people. But a lot of people forget when they're using the Kinect, it has not got an unlimited scan range, an unlimited distance. It has there's a sweet spot that you've got to stay in. And if you're outside that sweet spot, especially if an object's too far away, you're going to get a lot of glitching. and you're going to get a lot of problems. Again, it's the thing about using it right and in the right environment as well.
Well, see, my thoughts on it have been, we really need new software for it.
Yeah, the software is not the world's best. Definitely
not. Nowhere near. But then again, we're talking there. Most of our software conversations today have revolved around Microsoft and our complete and utter fear of what Microsoft may do. Yeah. And it's the same thing with it. I've seen so many people that, frankly, we have one. We've been working with it, and it's gotten to a point with it. I've told the guys, until I sit down and write, either I know someone who wrote it or I write my own program for it, we're done with the Kinect.
See, what I've done, and when I first built mine, I was using the Microsoft software to do the skeletal tracking. Obviously, you've got to have the drivers on, but I don't use that thing. I use software called FAST, FAAAST, and it's written by someone other than Microsoft, and it works a lot better, as far as I'm concerned. So again, you could try that. It's free software. It's free to download and install, and I just find it works very well. But what I also do, irrelevant whether the software works better, when I get figures that map in, I don't just instantly think, wow, paranormal. I always try to get some sort of intelligent interaction with that figure and try and get it to do things on command. If I can get it to actually do things on command and show some form of intelligence, then I'll say, yes, we have something. But if we just get a figure that just seems to be mapped in and stood there doing nothing, I always, err on the side of caution.
Well, yeah, you'd have to. And I mean, you're absolutely right. If you're sitting there and you're like, you see the skeletal figure pop up on your screen and, can you raise your right hand? And it raises its right hand. And it's like, can you, stand on one leg? And it stands on one leg. Then you have to say, okay, this, granted, the Kinect will map out a chair and a lamp. And, when I was doing tests in the house, it mapped out a car seat. It mapped out a lamp. It mapped out a chair. The chair actually looked like the ghost of King Kong or something. I mean, this thing was ginormous and, knuckles on the ground and everything. I'm sitting there like, that's a big freaking gorilla, but, and, funny enough, it mapped out almost everything in my living room as a person, except for my stepdaughter, and she was pregnant at the time. So technically she was two people.
Two people. It didn't map her once.
It didn't even map her once. And she was technically two people, but, that's kind of what, but like you said, if you're sitting there and it's like, okay, well, and you get direct responses. That's the biggest thing with all of it,
That's exactly the same with the apps, with anything. You're looking for intelligent response, intelligent replies. If you get those, then you're onto something. There's something actually happening. It's not just, again, with the Kinect, it's not just random. But again, the Kinect is a funny subject. It's a love-or-hate thing with the Kinect.
Yeah, and right now I'll be the first to admit, right now with me it's a hate thing because it's like another person that I work with. He was doing a test on the Kinect, and he figured out that every time his refrigerator kicked on, a skeleton popped out. And it's stuff like that. And I was just watching over a video that somebody had posted. Hey, what do you think of this? Look at this. And they were in their kitchen.
Yep.
And I'm like, you've got your microwave, you've got your stove, you've got your refrigerator. Those are three of the most highest electromagnetic field in your house normally.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, again, nothing you're going to get there is going to read correctly.
Exactly. All I say, my only advice to anyone: yes, you might get glitches and anomalies, but just look for that intelligent reaction. Ask it to do something. Give it some basic commands. If you start getting a response from it, then you can look at it as possible paranormal. But anything else, if in doubt, throw it out. That's our motto.
That's our motto too.
There you go.
We said the very same thing more than once.
Yeah.
We call BS. I mean, we've even called it on our own self.
Yep.
Some of the data we collect, we said, no, that's bull crap. We ain't using
bull crap. Chuck it out, bin it. Yeah, if in doubt, just bin it. Just chuck it out. And that way, it's just easier that way, and that way you get more credible evidence. If you
and besides that, we have a YouTube channel also, and we had put something on the YouTube channel, and then later on we found out that in fact we were wrong. So we came on there and said, you know what, we were wrong.
And that's what a lot of teams unfortunately don't do. They won't admit when they're wrong. And the most important part of the paranormal is what we do is to debunk as well. If you can't debunk your own evidence, you're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? We've all done them investigations where we get excited when something happens, but when you just take a moment to step back and you look at it and you think, no, actually, and debunk and then carry on.
Exactly. And then we're all, like you said, and I'm glad you say that, because it's something we are all guilty of at some point in doing this. In the heat of the moment, like the guy that got Adele's "Hello" through the spirit box, he's practically running around with a shirt, swinging it over his head, screaming at the top of his lungs. He's never been happier. But, he's like, okay, on further review, you guys are right. That was Adele. But, I'm standing there in this house, I'm running this, and that is the clearest response. And it just happened to be "Hello" when I asked, you could say it. I'll be like I said when I was sitting there a few weeks ago with that, and I'm like, well, can you make the lights do this? And it does it, and it seems like it's cool. And I'm like, holy crap! And it took a second. It took that investigator and me kind of took over and said, wait, there's something up here. And so I was like, I tell you what, and I sat back. I was like, John, you try to get responses. It was about one of the other member that was doing it with me was John, and he's like, no, there's nothing. And then when I set back up and I set my phone down, it starts blinking again, and I'm like, there you are.
Yes, that's debunked.
Yeah. But, for that few seconds, it was just like, oh, look at that.
Adrenaline kicks in. It does with us all. You get that excitement. Because when you're doing a ghost box session like that guy was, you're waiting for a response. You triggered and waiting for that response when you asked a question. So when something like that happens, the adrenaline kicks in, and as you said, you lose your mind. We've all done it. We've all jumped up and like, oh my God, that's incredible. And but it's a good investigator then needs to know when to step back, like you've said, step back away from the situation for a minute and step outside what's going on and look at it more logically. If you do that and you still can't debunk it, then fair enough.
Well, see, that's
You've
exactly
got something,
it.
But at least
a lot of people have gone. A lot of investigators have gone more to the TV side of things, where everything is this and that, where instead of being like you said, I would rather, if I'm doing a 5-hour investigation, I would rather throw out 4 hours and 59 minutes of it for that 1 minute of, okay, I can't explain this. I don't know how this happened. I don't know why this happened, but I know it happened.
Exactly. That one little bit is worth its weight in gold. I mean, I've been on both sides of the fence. I've done TV as well. So I know how it works behind the scenes, how producers are. They want something exciting. But I always said from day one, I said, if I'm not going to fake anything, I'm not going to fake a reaction. If nothing happens, then nothing happens. That's paranormal investigation. Yeah. We spent like 12 hours doing an investigation, and for sort of like 11 of those hours, we sit and twiddling our thumbs, waiting for somebody. It's not like what people see on TV.
And then you're doing 40 hours of evidence review because you got to look at all the data 3 times in the next week and a half.
Exactly, I've been there. Yeah.
That's what we always joke. It's like if you ever want anyone to really to just kind of get all of the glory hounds and the people with stars in their eyes for paranormal TV shows that they're going to be rich and famous, make them do evidence review. Every damn one of them quit.
Sit down with these 7-digit recorders we've had running for like 6 hours, and you've got to listen to each one of them from end to end. Yeah, that'll do it.
And every time you hear the little bump or a little pop or a wait, what was that? Okay, wait, got to take that back. Well, and then on video, it's like, wait, was that a shadow? Rewind. Back again.
So that 6 hours rewind. You could add another 2 hours to each one.
Yeah, that's actually, we've talked about that a lot. It's like people don't realize because they were so used to seeing this, like, Ghost Hunters was the first one to do it, where they're all sitting down in the room, and it's like, here, listen to this, here, listen to that, and they're seeing this, like, 2.5 minute thing leading up to a commercial, and they're like, wow, evidence review looks pretty cool. Y'all sit down in a room, and it's like, no, you're so wrong. You know, it's like, well, you know that video I took the other day, it was 45 minutes long. Yeah, it took me 2 hours to review it, because every time there was a shadow or a pop or a bump or a floorboard squeaked or the pixelated a little bit, it's rewind, watch it again, rewind, watch it again, slow motion, rewind, you know.
Oh, God, yes. And the thing is, people, it's not as glamorous, like you say, it's not as glamorous as what people think. We do it for the evidence, and we do it because we love it, but it's hard work. It is long, tedious, like I say, sessions, sitting, reviewing all this evidence, and then for the poor guy who then has got to take that evidence and put it into a video format so, you know, you can show people the evidence, it takes a long time.
Yeah. You know, that's something that, with my new team, neither one of them had any experience. They just had the interest. And it was like, you know, one of them had been watching the ghost shows on TV. And the first time we were sitting there and it's like, okay, we're going to do an EVP session. He's like, all right. It's like, all right, everybody sit down and be quiet. And, you know, like 10 minutes into it, it's like, what else are we going to do?
No,
nothing. This is it. You know, it's like, are you sure?
And they get, because again, people always refer back to me, and they're all like on ghost adventures and things like that, where it's all high octane and they're all diving around, and it's like watching an episode of Miami Vice or something. It's all action. I said that 40 minutes you're watching where the excited is taking out of a 12-hour investigation. Trust me, they're not running around like that all night. Nowhere near.
If they are, they've got some serious problems. I mean, yeah, you know, more often than not, you're sitting there, and then they found out the other hard fact for them to swallow was when you do the same place, you always do the same place more than once. You know, you go back in, and then there was one time we went in there, and it was like this one place is a heritage park here, and it was decently active. You know, we got a few voices and stuff like that, and it was like, oh, this is cool. We went back there the next time, nothing.
Yep.
There for like 5-6 hours, and we got nothing. Not a voice, not a creak. The closest thing we had to anything paranormal is the smell of a cat box, and it about chased us all out of the room. We were standing there, and we didn't know the cat was actually in the building. And Lord, that cat had one of the strongest odors I have ever smelled coming out of an animal. I'm pretty sure it had died and was being reincarnated or something. I don't know. But it was like in a back office, and we could smell it at the front of a house, and it was just like, oh, Jesus, save us now. And we weren't running. That was the most paranormal thing that happened because that smell was not normal.
No.
Then we go back the third time, and it was off the freaking scale.
Boom. Yeah, that's what, again, people think they just hit a location and then they go. We always, like, when we do on the local investigations here, we always try and go back multiple times if we can, because you need to.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. You always go back. You always try it. You know, like I said, that third time, we had lights in empty buildings being turned on and off. One of the team members got touched. You know, we had voices coming from everywhere. We had footsteps. It was just, like I said, it was just off the scale with activity. But then there was that one, we were there literally sitting inside the building going, please, anything.
Something.
Knock something over, say just anything, just something, you know.
One of my things, again, was I always say to people, because they say they go into a haunted location and we got nothing, so it mustn't be haunted. I said, you do realize that spirits don't perform on command. They don't have to perform because you turn up. They remember they were people once, and they have emotion. They maybe just don't want to on that night, or they just don't like you on that night for some reason. But they're not puppets on strings, you know. So
yeah, well, I think the one day that it was just really dead, I had a lot to do with the heat. we were having like a seriously hot day, and I think the temperature was between like 35 and 40.
Yeah.
And it's just like it was stifling in there. And like I said, this is a heritage park. These are old cabins.
Yeah.
There's no air conditioning. There's no draft. There's nothing. Oh, I'll take that back. We did get one really interesting thing. We were in the upstairs of one of the cabins, and we got a temperature reading on a, Lord, I think it was a millimeter that went from, like I said, the ambient was like 35, and it went up to 48.
Ooh. Yeah, so it's a big difference.
And it was like instantly, we're sitting there like, and turned around. Holy crap. It's like everywhere in the room except for this one spot. And there was no sunlight coming in. There was no, nothing like that to cause it. And then boom, it's done. It's back to normal.
Yep. So again, that's something a little bit unexplained. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was, but I mean, as far as activity goes, that was it. That was the one strange, like, holy crap moment. But it was, and we were all just like, okay, it's too hot for this. I think the spirits that were there were like, you're absolutely right. It's too hot for this. They're going off somewhere else. So
that's it.
Right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. You can carry on.
I'm thinking again, which is always a dangerous thing. Joe can tell you that. But I wanted to go back to your app for just a minute, if you don't mind. I had another question. No problem. Your frequency, how wide is your range?
Do you mean in the frequencies how it scans in milliseconds, or do you mean the frequencies within the actual
the frequencies
audio
within the audio? What is your range?
There isn't actually a set range. Again, I don't do anything completely set in stone. I like to keep things as random as possible. So I just go from higher frequencies, like, because I do use a lot of human tones and sounds, because, again, my theory was that a spirit used to have a voice. It used to have a voice box. It used to speak with tones. And then even though they don't have a kind of a voice box or anything anymore, they're just energy, it's easier for them to manipulate human tones, even though the audio is backwards, than it would be. I've known people put the sound of a washing machine in an app to make some random sounds. I said, well, that kind of is a bit crazy to me. So we go from like very high-pitched child and woman type frequencies right to very low, deep, bassy male sort of frequency. So we go from, there is no set start and no set end. So
I just wondered if you'd been able to, because Joe and I had worked with some frequency stuff on the EVP. I wondered if you'd been able to narrow the response. So I want to ask this. Narrow the response frequency down to get a sweet spot. If you know what I'm saying, like
So like a certain like
you're sleeping a certain range, but are they replying to you within a narrower band?
They don't seem to be. No. Communication, no matter what, because I give them a wide range, because my theory is if I was a spirit, and I've got a deep voice at the minute because I've got a chest infection, but I've normally got a slightly deeper voice. So if I was a spirit wanting to communicate, I would try and communicate in a range that I remember speaking. So that was my theory from day one again, and so I just give as wide a range as possible. But it doesn't matter what range we have, I get communication in all the frequencies, whether it's a voice in a high frequency or a really deep voice in a low, and everything in between. There doesn't seem to be a set you can lock on to, because like I said, I think again, I don't know exactly how spirit works, because that's the whole point of why we investigate and why we do what we do.
Trust me, if we knew, we'd all be really rich.
And we'd all be very bored because we don't have nothing to do anymore.
Nothing left to do.
So
So if I'm right on what you're saying, then all your ranges are within the human vocal range.
All within the human vocal range, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been playing. We've been playing on the EVP range for a long time because there's got to be, it's like we were saying earlier. The goal in all of this is pretty much direct responses.
Yeah.
The ability to talk in real time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're all trying for.
Yep.
We want to be able to, instead of having to go back, listen to the recording, it's like playing phone tag with somebody.
Exactly. It's long, like we said, in the paranormal field, it's long-winded. You've got to do an EVP session, you've got to then listen to it back, and then you've got to do another. And that's why the Geminus Project was born, to try and get, so we can just go into a location, turn one of these things on, and start talking to something, spirit or whatever we're talking to, but in as close to real time as we can get. So you don't have to. It's always still good practice to go back and review your evidence. But if you're on a location in that moment, and you can ask a question and get a reply almost instantaneously, it opens up a whole new area of ITC and paranormal that you can have that two-way conversation.
Yeah, and that's the ultimate goal. Of course, like you said, it is always, you're going to have to go back over it because there's always going to be something you missed.
Exactly.
And we find more often than not that the with all the background contaminant noise and you always end up with not being able to hear something as clearly as you might hope. And then if you have like a team member that couldn't shut up to save their life, exactly. You've always got that problem too.
Exactly.
And
so if we can, that's what I was saying. But if we can rule that out, because the magic with the apps and the way we have them now, it doesn't matter who's talking in the room because you've got this thing plugged into a speaker, and the voices come out, and they don't care who else is talking, and whoever is talking is not contaminating as such because these voices are just coming out so clearly. So it kind of rules a bit of that out as well. But obviously, what we do is, when we've done an investigation, we always go back through it again, because, like you say, because you're excited in the moment and everyone's triggered because you're getting responses, we find that you miss half of what was actually being said sometimes. Because you're almost concentrating too hard, you know what I mean, to actually listen for these things coming back. So, but we are so close. That's the thing we find exciting, that watching people use these things and testing them ourselves and using them ourselves, we are so close to that literally real-time communication and information that's coming out that, like we said earlier, that cannot be there. It's personal information at times about people that are in the room at the time, and that's what's driving us forward. That's what keeps us going. That this type of evidence has kind of never been sort of gathered in this way before, and so accurate as well.
Yeah, it's definitely opening up new fields.
It has, and that's the magic. And what we're hoping is that people take inspiration about what we're doing and carry it on and go their own route and do their own thing, because that's how we progress. You know what I mean? By taking inspiration from others. And if people can build on what we do and go even a different route again, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. That's how it gets advanced.
Mm-hmm.
That's how everything we're doing, it gets advanced. Mm-hmm. So now if anyone's wanting to download your apps, I know you're in the Google Play Store. Are they available on both Android and ISO, right?
No, they're only available on Android. We keep everything Android based. We find a lot more people in the paranormal field have Android devices than they do iOS. So we exclusively do for Android. But if anyone wants to find any of the apps, like I say, they just literally have to search my name on the Play Store, and it will come up with the apps. Just search for Brian Holloway on the Play Store, and you'll find me on there straight away.
All right. And Of course, can you give the name of your Facebook group again? Of course, I will put links to this stuff in the description so it's easier to find. But just the name of your Facebook group again, because like I said, that was something that really stuck out to me. That kind of said, we're here. This. Yep. So it opens a community, and it. If you got any questions, you can go and you're talking directly to you. Exactly. Yeah. It's me and Javier Sands, like I said, from Spain Paranormal. We work exclusively together as well. But it's the Geminus Project, the Geminus Project family group. We actually have, they renamed it because they wanted to put the word family in there because that's what we feel like we are. We want big family, and we look out for each other. And like I say, we love it when new people come in and they've got all these questions for us because we just love talking about this sort of stuff. So it's the just search for Geminus Project, and you should find the Geminus Project family group. And anybody, again, it's open to everybody. Everybody's welcome to join. All right. Well, Brian, I do want to thank you for coming on today. You've been a great guest, and of course, we'd like to have you back on anytime. Anytime you want to be on, just shoot. You've got me on Facebook and on Skype. So you can just shoot me a message, and of course, we will probably get back in touch with you the next time we start getting as I always joke, the last two of the brain cells I've got left together just kind of bounce and click, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, now I can think of something. The last two touch together. All right. And so probably I'll be more than happy to come back. All right.
I'm sorry. I did have one more question. I just thought of, since all your ranges are within human vocal range, then that would in some way make auditory pareidolia exactly would recognize patterns easier, less error, because it's what it's used to. So you don't have sounds that sound like, I don't know, an elephant or a whale or a doorknob or whatever. I mean, because of your vocal, or the vocal range of your frequencies, then it is possible that you would have less auditory error.
Yeah, exactly. That was the whole plan. We also, because obviously audio pareidolia is a thing, so that's why I go through the audio with a good set of headphones on, very loud, and I listen for anything like the pareidolia effect. So I'm listening to all the reversed audio, and I might hear something that sounds like a word, even though it can't be. So they actually removed, checked out, completely gone. So like what you said.
Yeah, and people don't realize, you have two ears. You have left and right, obviously.
Exactly.
And sounds come into your brain separately. Don't come in as one sound. They come in as two sounds. And then your brain puts them together to make one word.
That's it, yeah.
It does the work, and of course, it's more technical than that, but I'm not going to go into it. I mean, but that's basically what it is. So if you only had one earphone working, you might hear one thing. If you had your left ear working and not your right, or your right ear and not your left, the sound that you hear would be different. Would be if you had both working.
That's correct, yeah. And that's why the audio banks themselves are in stereo and are listening stereo, and like I say, everything's chopped out, and because there aren't those random sounds, and like what you said, that can make some strange noises that can trick your brain into thinking you're hearing something you're not. We try to make everything so that there is as little chance of any audio pareidolia or any mistakes as humanly possible, and that's why I think we're getting such good replies from the apps, and people are starting to believe in apps because they realize that this stuff that's coming out, and again, audio pareidolia is a thing, but when you've got a group of 10 people in a room all hear the exact same thing very clearly, you can, like what you said, you can start to rule out that audio pareidolia, that there is something there.
I just wanted to hit that just so people know what I was thinking, but yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely a good point. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Okay, Joe, back to you.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank you for coming on, and hope you have a good night. This is actually a multi-continental and country thing, because we've got me in Western Canada. It's 11:15 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
Got Michael. It's like at lunchtime or past lunchtime, early evening on the East Coast of the United States. And then here you are in England, and it's about 8 o'clock where you're at.
It's quarter past 7.
Quarter past 7. So we're quite wide-reaching today. And again, I want to thank you. Yeah, it is actually twice, because DNA Paranormal was the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they actually did a really good video about debunking. Stephen Huff from Huff Paranormal.
Oh, don't get me started on that. I've actually got videos on YouTube myself about Mr. Huff.
Yeah, I think he's everybody's trigger object in the paranormal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we found him doing some really dubious things.
maybe we'll have to do that. Maybe get you on and get them on, and just have a big thing and call it like fuck Steve Huff.
That would be an interesting video, because, like I said, I went through quite a number of videos on him when we caught him out doing some certain things. Yeah, that would be an interesting one.
I bet it would. All right, Brian, again, I want to thank you for coming on, and I hope you have a great night.
Oh, thank you very much. Good. Thank you for having me.
Good, thanks.
Thank you.